All righty, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Kyle Area Chamber of Commerce July Luncheon. Our title today, Driving Change, a Transportation and Traffic Forecast, is brought to you by State Farm in partnership with the Kyle Chamber of Commerce. So thank you, Corey Pack. We really appreciate your sponsorship today. We're going to get started very quickly because we have a very large program. We have three amazing guests today to talk to you about what's to come when it comes to our road construction and improvements that we'll be seeing. So very quickly, I would like to recognize our board members here today. Dee Crisp with GEFCU, Cheryl Dozier, University Federal Credit Union, Jenna Hardenberg with Blue Cotton, Nick Madsen Law, Chris Torrey, Elite Realty Advisors, and Corey Shearhart with HEB Plus. Appreciate all of our board members and your input on this program today. And once again, I do like to recognize State Farm. Corey Pack, we'll be hearing from him in just a few minutes. Also wanting to recognize a few of our special guests here today, our elected officials here from the City of Kyle, Mayor Travis Mitchell, Mayor Pro Tem Robert Rizzo, Council members Bear Heiser, Dr. Laura Lee Harris, Daniela Parsley, and Michael Tobias. Thank you, Council members, for being here today. From Hays County, Commissioner Dr. Michelle Cohen with Precinct 2, and Judge Sandra Bryant, Precinct 5. Additional special guests here with us today include our Assistant Chief of Police, Pedro Hernandez, our Kyle Police Fire Chief, Kyle Taylor, and former Mayor Lucy Johnson. Thank you all for being here today. In addition to Corey Pack State Farm being our title sponsor today, I'd like to recognize our table sponsors, the City of Kyle, Frost Bank, State Farm, Corey Pack, and Wells Fargo. Thank you very much. Our photo and video producer and sponsor, the Cool Pug Company and Dream It. In addition to our linen and centerpiece sponsor, Alsco Uniforms. We really appreciate your sponsorship and support. All right, just two announcements. Next month's luncheon, which will be August 27th, we will have the pleasure to hear from our Chief and Assistant Chief of Police to give a full update on the Kyle Police Department and what they are doing to keep up with our growth. And they will add an element of crime prevention to kick off a 3-part safety series that we'll be having here in October. So please stay tuned for more information about that. And at the end of today's program, you can register to attend next month's luncheon on August 25th. For those of you that have not yet registered for our Kyle Classic Golf Tournament, you gotta get in very soon. We're very happy to report we only have one sponsorship remaining. So if you have an interest in sponsoring a hole, there is one left. And then there are a few additional sponsorships that are available that are not hole sponsorships, but we can fit you in some way or another. And we have space for about 12 teams. Those are teams of 4. So register through the Kyle Chamber website or give us a call. And that classic is sponsored by City Limits Subaru. All right, next up, I'd like to introduce our sponsor today to hear more about State Farm Insurance, Mr. Corey Pack.
Good afternoon, everybody. Appreciate you being here today. My name's Corey Pack. I'm the owner agent of the Corey Pack State Farm Agency. We moved down here in 2008 with my family, Cynthia and my kids. Opened my agency in February of 2009. So like everyone else that's been here from 2009 to now, there's been a lot of changes around Kyle and Hays County. When I opened in February of 2009, I had 0 customers, and we have about 24 households insured today and growing. So we've been blessed to grow as the community grows. So that's been an honor to do that and to give back to the community through those years. My approach from an insurance and financial services perspective is we have a lot of conversation. And so what we look to do is just listen from a risk management approach, so that we can know what's important to you, what keeps you up at night, and just have a good conversation so we know how we can best present ideas to address those kind of things. So as we do those things, of course, we're looking to protect families, we're looking to protect your business, what you own, your wealth accumulation, how you can grow income streams, and we have methods and things that we can do to help you along that pathway. So again, when we look at our approach, we focus on 4 basic questions. There you go. Sorry. I don't have my hype stuff going on. I don't have enough time on the mic. So our approach is what we do is we start out with we want to know what's important to you. What are your goals? What are your visions? What keeps you up at night? And we try to look at those things and just get an idea of what you're looking to accomplish. It's not just, we don't approach everything at how we can sell you something. We want to know what we're protecting. And so we have a lot of in-depth conversations around that. Second thing we look at is where are you at today? So let's get that snapshot. Are you on the right path to what you want to accomplish? Do we need to make some changes and do anything like that? From that, we look at where are there potential gaps or areas of concern that you may have some exposure that you weren't aware of, or that just wasn't a time to make some changes to that. So one of the examples I always use in that with gaps and concerns, when you look at insurance, we look at it every day. Most everybody else, you may look at it once or twice a year or maybe every 5 years. But I always use the example, if you take property damage on your liability of your car insurance, if you've got a $50,000 limit, that's all the insurance company's going to pay. If you've noticed, there's a lot of Teslas around now. You T-bone a Tesla, $50,000 is not going to cover that car. Where's that other $50,000 coming from? Your checking account, your savings account, your rental properties. So we talk about those gaps and those areas of concern and how do we address those. And that's the last part. What steps and actions can we help you take that's going to address those kind of things? So that's our approach in my office, and we want to be an advisor to you to help you make the best decisions around those things. So, like everybody, I've already talked to people today. The number one question we work with in our office today is, why does my insurance keep going up? So my office can tell you that's every day. That's the questions we're answering. And so if you moved here like I did in 2008, you've seen the population growth in Kyle. I remember when I first opened, we weren't on the traffic reports on the radio, and now we are, and the news and everything. So just the sheer population growth is putting more cars on the road, puts more rooftops, so you're going to have more accidents and more claims. Well, that puts pressure on the insurance, and it's all insurance companies that's facing this today. We have frequency and severity of weather claims that have basically picked up over the last 4 or 5 years. That is increasing costs for insurance companies because the damages that we're having to address. If you look at car insurance, you got rising cost of the car repairs themselves. You probably saw a couple of years ago when the value of the cars just jumped up. Trying to buy a used car or a new car was expensive. So with that impacts the insurance, because we have to replace or repair a car. That cost goes up. There's so many more technology features on cars now that increase the safety, But when you have that fender bender, they have to account for those safety features now, which increase the repair cost. We've had supply chain disruptions. My pickup was damaged in that May hailstorm. My name's on the building. I'm still driving around a beat up pickup because they can't get the doors in because they can't order them yet. So there's supply chain disruptions that will affect those kind of things. Sorry. And then you've got labor cost. That longer claim process increases labor costs, and labor rates are going up in general anyway. All of those things, Julie, I don't know what I'm doing here. Okay. All of those things will factor into the cost of insurance. You have distracted driving. So that's a picture of my dad's pickup, who's got a flip phone, so he wasn't texting and driving, but he was reaching over to get a tool out of his seat, which I don't know why he was, but he ran off an old county road right at the bridge, and that's what happens with distracted driving. You look at our area, it's usually somebody on a cell phone or those kind of things. That increases insurance costs. Then you have inflation and interest rates. I won't go into all the reasons that affects insurance. Those things impact your insurance rates as well. Finally, if you look at you think of 15 years ago or 10 years ago, those hailstorms that would come through and hit Kyle or Hays County, they were probably hitting some pastures with some cows in it. And now there's like 2,000 homes in those pastures, what used to be pastures. So just the sheer number of rooftops being insured is putting pressure from an insurance rate standpoint. So there's all kinds of factors that play into those rates that what we do in our office is we just try to look at ways that we can help mitigate some of that cost, but we do so in a way that we don't want to leave you exposed to litigation or loss of property and things like that. So that's what we do as far as my office approach goes. I love serving the community. I'm a teacher and coach by trade in the past, so I like giving back to schools and the community. So however we can serve, if it's looking at whatever insurance you have now, just a free look to go, hey, ask your insurance people this. Or if it's how we can partner up, school supply drives are about to start. So if we can give back in that way, if somebody wants to partner up and do those kind of things, I always look at ways we can do that as well. So with that, I appreciate the time, appreciate everybody being here today. Looking forward to the vision we get to see with the roads and the transportation. It's an exciting time to be in this area and the growth that's coming and the changes that are coming. And it's exciting to be a part of that. Thank you guys and ladies.
Thank you, Corey. We really appreciate your sponsorship today. Corey's office is amazing. I mean, all of their team are so willing to help you and eager to find the best insurance for you. So I highly recommend that you talk with them if you have any questions. All right, let's get to our speakers today. Tucker Ferguson has been the district engineer for TxDOT's Austin district since 2019. In this role, he's responsible for overseeing the planning, design, construction, maintenance, and operations for the 11-county Central Texas Capital Region. He graduated from the University of Pittsburgh at Johnstown and previously served as the district engineer in the Beaumont district from 2011 to 2019. Before joining TxDOT, he had a 22-year career with the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation in various roles, including serving as the district engineer in the Harrisburg and Allentown districts, as well as the statewide director roles for construction and materials and maintenance and operations. Please welcome Tucker Ferguson with TxDOT.
Thank you, Julie. Great to be here today. Thank you for the invitation. I always enjoy addressing these types of groups because I know that transportation and what we do, and we take, and our staff takes pride in this, but with transportation, our road projects, our road construction, the safety on our roads touches everyone's lives every day. And I try to instill that in my own my own thoughts every day and in our staff to make sure that we realize how important what we do affects everything that we touch. And just hearing from Corey and the insurance industry and the safety aspects, it really touches home for us to make sure that our roads are as safe as possible and doing improvements on the types of projects that we can to make sure everybody goes home safely at night. So I got a set of slides here. As Julie said, I think I'm going to go out front, if that's okay. I'm not sure what I did. Anybody help me out? Join now. I promise this is not my slide. But just as an overview of TxDOT, as Julie said, I'm the district engineer for the Austin district. We have 25 districts in the state of Texas. We cover in the Austin district the 11 county region here in central Texas. It's challenging, it's fun. We have a great time every day, and there's a lot of work going on out there, right? You see our projects, you've driven through our projects, I'm sure, to get here today. But again, we take pride in what we are trying to accomplish and build the roads for increased mobility and safety for all of our partners. So I have some highlights of projects that are in the vicinity in Hays County and in the city of Kyle. And I'm sure you can get these slides. I'm not going to go over every detail of every project, but you'll probably hear me talk a lot about just the collaboration and the partnerships that we have with our local officials at the county level, at the city level. Meeting Commissioner Cohen for the first time, but we do a lot of work with Hays County in the Commissioner's Court and the judge. And we just really appreciate the partnership and the investment that they have put into their transportation system on the local and the county roads and on some of our state projects as well. And I serve on the CAMPO, the Capital Area Metropolitan Planning Organization Policy Board with Mayor Mitchell. Just a great partner, and he supports our projects, we support their projects, and really we look at state roads and local roads, but it doesn't really matter to anybody when they're traveling on the roadway system or the transportation system. It's just transportation. It doesn't matter if it's a state road, county road, local road, city, school district roads. We want to get people from point A to point B safely, efficiently, and when repairs need to be made, we collaborate and we work together to make sure we're all on the same page. But the first project to identify and really highlight is the FM 110. And as you can see on the far side, we got I-35 on the left side of that graphic, and then the FM 110 loop really is something that we look forward to for many decades and plan with Hays County. They participated at the local level, and local funding used for right-of-way and design and some of the construction costs. Just finished this up late last year and had a ribbon cutting on the final piece, on that north piece on the far side, really to provide an alternate route to I-35. We all know I-35 is old, antiquated, under construction all the time. And in our district, we cover 3 counties that cover I-35. So on the southern end of our district is Hays County, Travis County in the central part, and Williamson County on the northern part. Covers about 80 miles total end to end of I-35 in our district. And I would venture to say that there aren't very many miles of that 80 miles that aren't either under construction, under design to be under construction, being studied for future construction. And it's all a part of responding to the growth of this region. We've heard before how much this region is growing, some of the fastest counties, fastest cities in the United States, and it's not stopping. People are moving here. People want to be in central Texas, in the Austin region. It's fantastic, but it does bring along some challenges, because when people are moving here, they're bringing vehicles, but they're not bringing roads. They're not bringing schools with them, right? They're not bringing water and wastewater infrastructure. So it's up to us as the government officials to respond to that, to fund these projects, and spread that money as quickly and as efficiently as we can. But very proud to get this as an alternate route to I-35. And when we start building I-35 and improving in these areas, this is definitely going to be developing and give us an alternate route to I-35. So very pleased with the progress on this, accomplishing this with the partnership of Hays County and getting this the ribbon cut on this one. And speaking of I-35, we are beginning, or we're underway right now with what we are calling a planning and environmental linkage study of I-35 through Hays County down into the district south of us in the San Antonio district. And as we can see the development happening along I-35, our regions, the San Antonio region, the Austin region, are really blending together right now. It's becoming a super mega region in many ways, like the Dallas-Fort Worth region. In our case, Dallas and Fort Worth are two separate TxDOT districts. Austin and San Antonio are two separate TxDOT districts, but we work very closely together with our counterparts in the San Antonio region, because we want to make sure anything we're doing on I-35 or US 281 on the west side of our district are not in conflict with each other, because they all have to run seamlessly. Just like we don't distinguish between a state or a local road. District lines and county lines are really just arbitrary for us, and we want to make sure that we have consistency, collaboration with our partners. So this project, this study is undergoing. We're taking it from I-35 from 45 Southeast down to County Road 382, and really just looking what the needs are going to be as the region develops in the future. Does that mean it's added capacity? Probably. People are bringing more cars. Does it mean possibly HOV lanes or managed lanes where we are giving priority to buses or to carpools? Does it mean some alternate means of travel, like rail, possibly? There's an effort right now in Travis County being led by Judge Brown and his counterparts in the San Antonio district to get high speed or passenger rail between the two regions. So all of these are on the table, looking at, being studied, and then we'll develop plans for funding these and schematics for future development. So this is for projects looking out in the next 10 years or beyond, but a very important part of planning, because we can't begin construction on something that we don't plan, and many times these projects take decades to get developed and get to actual construction. RM 150 rail siding relocation project. So in the city of Kyle, Center Street, has anybody gotten stuck on Center Street waiting for trains to switch and engineers to jump from everybody, pretty much? two hands up to 4 years. So that's a very popular location, the siding or the switch there on Center Street, where the trains are changing directions or changing shifts, whatever the UP operation is. So we have a project that is funded by Campo in the Hays County bond to relocate that siding from Center Street north, just above, just north of Kohler's Crossing. So we'll get it out of that congested area, and really the train in that at-grade crossing will be continuously moving. So I'm not saying that it won't stop all stoppages or crossings, but it will stop the switching and move that further north. So this project, again, is funded. The construction and when this goes to bid is still to be determined, because we have another project that's shown here on my next slide that sort of has to go hand in hand with that. So this is the Kohler Crossing upgrade of the UP grade separation. So what we don't want to do is just move that switching station from Center Street to north of Kohler's Crossing and create the same situation in that area. Even though it may not be as congested or populated in that area, we do want to make sure that we have this grade separation. So the City of Kyle has applied for a grant and grant funding for this to grade. When I say grade separate, that we would have Kohler's Crossing go over the rail line and have that switch at a different location. So that would all work seamlessly. So I think we're still waiting on announcement of this, the funding of this. So as you can imagine, those two projects would go hand in hand, the Kohler's Crossing grade separation and the RM, the Center Street relocation of that siding. So this is to be determined. Approximate cost of that project is about $26 million, and we're hopeful that we hear on that grant application very soon. RM 150 widening. So a little bit about this project, and this is something that we do quite often in the scale of projects that we do, and I'll categorize it as a safety project. I know the projects like I-35 and the ribbon cuttings on a lot of those big jobs get all the headlines, but this is really the bread and butter of what we do. Improving safety, giving boundaries and wider pavements to our pavements, because we track all of the safety statistics, and just listening to the insurance comments of crashes and really on fatalities. We look at every fatality that happens in our district and across the state. And specifically the ones in our district, we study every fatal crash and look on our roadways and say, is there something that we can do differently that could have prevented that? In many cases, it's human behavior. Not paying attention, not wearing seatbelts, drunk driving, impaired driving. But where there are features on our roadways that we can make improvements to, we put these safety projects to the top of the list and get those developed so we can reduce these crashes. One of the more common types of crashes and rollover crashes and fatalities we're seeing across the state are single vehicle run off the road crashes, where somebody will get off the edge of the pavement, possibly overcorrect, roll, maybe hit a roadside feature, and unfortunately many times they're not wearing their seatbelts and they're ejected, and those almost always turn into fatalities. Projects where or stretches of road like RM 150 where we only have a minimal shoulder, it makes a huge difference when we can just widen that road slightly and put simply a 5-foot shoulder on both sides to get and have the pavement markings or rumble strips to give folks the notification that they're veering off the road and they don't get off the edge of the road and have it hit a drop off or overcorrect and get back and possibly go into the opposite direction and have a head-on collision. But just that extra 4 or 5 feet gives them a chance to get outside the white line, feel the tactile environment, and get back in the lane. A huge improvement in projected on saving lives and reducing crashes when we can do this. And basically, this is simply 5-foot shoulders on both sides and expanding it to where we have a 2-foot buffer in the center that really helps us on head-on collisions as well. This project is funded, scheduled to go to let in early of 2027, and it's about $12 million. Another type of safety project that we're doing is expanding many of our 2-lane roadways or our 4-lane roadways that don't have any dividers in them. We have many, many miles in our district of 4-lane, what we call 4-lane undivided roadways. And the tendency on those, in addition to going off the edge of the road and having crashes, is having head-on collisions and head-on crashes. We saw one right outside this area that was high profile just several months ago where the bus crossed over, right? And we saw that video and led to a fatality. We have a statewide initiative to get all of our 4-lane undivided roadways to 4-lane divided roadways, where we either have a grass median in the center with cable barrier or concrete barrier, but it's going to take us time to get all those miles across the state. But that's the State Highway 21 project. From State Highway 80 in Hays County to State Highway 130 in Caldwell County to do just that. This is a corridor that's developing. It's becoming more and more populated. Traffic is picking up on it, and we think it's very important to get this one underway so we can create that safety buffer, get it divided, and reduce those head-on crashes that many times result in fatalities. And the last one I'm going to show here is, I'm not going to talk a lot about this because these are being led by the City of Kyle, but I said earlier that we have a really, really great relationship with our local partners, and these are a couple of City of Kyle bond program projects that are being proposed, and we fully support these. We will give, and I've met with the mayor on this, we'll give them our full support, give them evaluation, collaboration with these, because many times they will either be on our system, on the state system, or be attaching themselves, hooking into our state system. So we want to make sure that what our needs are being met on these projects, but very pleased to see that the city is taking these on. And this is really a great model for all of our counties and cities across the state. And again, we've had really good success with Hayes County. Williamson County has been another great partner in the northern part of our district on taking and funding projects not only on their own system, but on our system as well, to increase the overall safety and mobility for the region. So really appreciative, Mayor, for taking this on, and we will be there to help you any place we can on this. So with that, I think we're going to be taking questions at the end. So we'll be around. I want to point out I have my area engineer, Willie Samora, with me. Willie oversees the operations in Hayes County and about half of Travis County, called the South Travis Area Office, and really is the guy behind all of these projects who have all the answers if you come to him afterwards. And I get to stand up here and make speeches, but Willie's the guy that gets it done and has all the answers to the questions. So thank you.
Thank you, Tucker. Such a pleasure, and thank you for accepting the invitation to speak to our group today. We're very honored. And yes, we will have a Q&A time frame after we hear from all of our speakers today. Next up, Dr. Michelle Cohen brings her passion for community service through her role as Commissioner for Precinct 2, an area that runs along I-35 corridor from East Buda into Kyle, which also includes downtown Kyle. As a 40-year resident of Hayes County, Michelle's lifelong commitment to community advocacy and experience in public service, paired with her doctorate in management in organizational leadership, drives her position as Hayes County official serving her constituents. Michelle serves on a multitude of boards. To name a few, the board for Kyle TERS 2, 5, and 6, the Hayes County Food Bank, the Judicial Review Board, the Capital Area Housing Finance Corporation, the Kyle Sportsplex Task Force, and the Clean Air Coalition. In her free time, which I can't believe you have any, she manages Hayes Latinos United, a community grassroots organization, and is a member to students in the Seedling Mentor Program. Dr. Cohen is also an author. Her children's book, A Day in the Life of a Hayes County Commissioner, helps explain the role of a county commissioner and how it directly impacts their lives. That's so cool. Please welcome Hayes County Commissioner, Dr. Michelle Cohen.
Hello, okay. Y'all can hear me okay? All right, well, thank you, Julie. Thank you, the Chamber, for letting me speak today. This is actually my first presentation as a new commissioner about road projects, so we'll see how this goes. I'm really excited about it. Thank you, Tucker, for your presentation. One of the things that I took from his presentation is the collaboration and strategic partnerships that we need in our county. As a new commissioner, I've always understood what I inherited as a new commissioner: outdated road infrastructure, water concerns, housing concerns, a growing population. All are big problems for a big city and county to have. So the road projects was a really big item for me to focus on. Because like I said, I've lived here 40 years, and I will say the roads on many here look about the same as they did 40 years ago when I used to ride the bus through here. So we need a lot of work for these. So I'm so happy to be here with y'all today. Make sure I got this right. Okay, here we go. So I'm, like Julie said earlier, my precinct is basically from Buda to Kyle, and it hugs the corridor, and it crosses over the city of Kyle, and encompasses all the city of Kyle. So I have the smallest geographically in a precinct, but it is super dense in business and people because it's along the corridor. So there's a lot of growth going on in the city of Kyle that we need to catch up on. And so I'm really excited to talk about the proposed road bond for this year. HNTB came to court about a couple courts ago and publicly let the public know and the court the projects for Hays County. So I focus specifically on my Precinct 2, and I will also talk about the other road projects that may be in Precinct 1 that has within the city of Kyle limits, and also in Precinct 3 that are on the west side of the city of Kyle. But like any academic, I like to go back in time and look at where we're coming from. So the last bond that was done in Hays County was in 2016. And that bond was $131 million. At that time, our Hays County population was just over 200,000, and the city of Kyle population was just under 40,000. So this is our 2016 road bond, and I thought it was good to pull this up so you could kind of see where, at this time, where the county was focusing on. And there is a lot going on in Wimberley, a little bit north of the county, and then some on the east side of the county, but not a lot of construction. I think we completed the first phase of the 2001 realignment, and also Daisy Lane. Those were the two major roads that we were able to complete. If you've ever been on Daisy Lane, it looks like a racetrack, but it's really great road, and I love it. So I thought it was important for us to just look back in time a little bit. So where we are now, so we've gone through a 2021 redistricting. That is the commissioners have now new precinct lines that happened in 2021. So with that happening, we had commissioners that oversaw new areas of the county. We had a new commissioner like me come on board. We also had a new judge. So there's been a lot of changes because of redistricting. And now our population is just over 270,000. We're probably a lot closer to 300,000, honestly. And so that's almost 100,000 more population that we had 8 years ago. So the reasons for the bond, like Tucker said earlier, we definitely want to improve the safety and mobility of our region. It is really important for us. I know I just saw a graph by the Kyle Police Department about the latest numbers, and traffic violations and traffic accidents were on the top 3. And so we just need to make our roads a lot safer than where they are right now. We need to respond to the rapid growth population. I think I read somewhere that our population is going to grow 267% by 2045. So that is a lot of new people in the area. Also, we need to address current infrastructure. Like I said, the roads look a lot, especially on the east side, a lot of them look exactly the same as they did almost 50 years ago. And so we need to address the outdated infrastructure that's in our area. Also, we need to support economic development. We have so many new businesses in the area and housing developments, but we need to make it easier for people to get around our business, to get to the businesses in the area. And so we need to improve our roads for that reason. And also, I'm a very big advocate of proactive planning. And so some of these projects were planned 8 years ago. And we're finally going to take them to construction on this bond if this bond passes. So in my mind, I'm thinking we're going to continue to do that, with some of these bond projects, is continue with design, continue improvements, so we can plan for the next time we need to do an upgrade on our road infrastructure. So the methodology behind this road bond is first engagement. Our consultants reached out to our Hays County Transportation to get their feedback, also local municipalities, the regional transportation, citizens, and commissioner input. So one of the things I asked as a new commissioner, what do we do as far as public engagement? But I get phone calls every day about roads and how dangerous some of them are, and when are we going to fix them? And so I take all that feedback and I talk to our consultants. I mean, I've lived here forever, so I know where a lot of the problems are within my precinct. And I was happy to hear when I first became commissioner, Hillside Terrace, Windy Hill, 150, and they're like, yes, we know, we know, we know. So we were in alignment, so we were in agreement with that. So I was glad to hear that that was being already looked at. And then the emphasis, again, it's just safety improvement, mobility enhancements, regional connectivity, the preservation of right-of-way, and new alignment projects. And in our cost estimates, our firm, leaves preliminary software. We addressed high-cost items with added drainage and signage. I was thinking about drainage coming here today, because with the rain, I could see, water on the road. So that word stuck in my mind this morning. The bond also includes any professional services that we're going to need to use, like design engineers, right-of-way coordinators, and legal services. We also added a contingency value of 20%, and then 5% inflation rate added, and all our values were based on the 2023 TxDOT bid item cost. The tax impact, if approved, so what will happen is we will decide as a court in August if we're going to approve this bond forward. And then it's going to be up to the citizens of this county to pass this bond for us. So, but what we're looking at is an almost $450 million bond that would increase probably the tax rate 2 cents per $100 evaluation. And it will be a gradual increase, ensuring that debt remains manageable within the county's budget and our overall tax structure. Our county has been upgraded from a AA to a AA+ bond rating, which is a good thing. And just a reminder that our Hays County tax rate is one of the lowest tax rates in the state. So it's been pretty low for the last couple years. So, we're doing what we can to keep the tax rate low at the county level. So this is a picture of our proposed road bond of this year. So what I do want to point out is that you can notice that there's a lot going on east of I-35. Commissioner Inglesby and I, who's Commissioner of Precinct 1, her and I share a lot of our roads together. It's like sharing a room with your big sister and someone drawing a piece of tape down the middle. So I always knew that it was important for her and I to work together to address these roads strategically. Okay, and this is just a dollar breakdown of all the precincts of the spend that was going to go into each precinct, and you can see it's relatively pretty equal. Mine's the lowest, so that should make y'all feel a little bit better. Mine's the lowest, but that's the total. So that's what we're looking at, right? So the last bond was $131 million. This one's almost $450 million. That's just, it's 8 years, later. The cost of materials is higher, services is higher. So that's where we are. That's what we're going to ask the voters to approve if we approve as a court in August to move it forward. All right, so this is just a zoomed in version of the overall map. And I just really want to highlight that there's a lot going on east of I-35. And so this is just a snapshot of that work between Precinct 1 and 2 and 3 over here. All right, so the first project is the Windy Hill Road from Purple Martin to 2001. This includes construction, design, and CEI. This will be a 2-lane divided with a center turn lane and shoulders with an ultimate of 4 lanes depending on the population growth in that area. And the total for this construction project is $40 million. And that little green part, that's Precinct 1. So that's what I'm saying. Sometimes some of our roads kind of cross each other, so we have to figure it out that way. This also includes a roundabout on Windy Hill. This is from Shadow Creek and Crosswinds. And this is full construction, utilities right away, $3.2 million for the roundabout. This is the FM 2001 gap. This is right-of-way acquisition, but ultimately a 4-lane divided highway with shoulders and turn lanes, 6.2 million. Hillside Terrace. So this is construction, utilities, and CEI. This will be a 2-lane roadway divided with a center lane, turn lane from I-35 to Old Goldforth Road. This is a very important road between, connectivity from 2001 to Robert S. Light. It's really important that we get that one done. We spent a lot of right-of-way on it already, and it's really important. It also includes the part of Goforth that's not, that doesn't match the other side of Goforth. So it's, definitely just that part. Also, what's on here that I learned recently is that there's going to be a park off of Hillside Terrace as well. So that'll be a great addition to that area. But this is really important. If you've ever been on Hillside Terrace, you know how terrible that traffic can be getting to the highway. This is Goforth Road, Precinct 2. So my part of this is what's in red. So this is full construction, utilities, right-of-way, and design, and has 2 roundabouts connecting 158 to 150. I'm not going to steal Mayor Mitchell's thunder, but this is a partnership within the city of Kyle as well. So ultimately, it'll go from 158 to BB Road. And the goal here is to try and remove traffic off of 150 sooner. Otherwise, you'll get, if you've been on 150 before, you know it's a bottleneck right there at I-35. So this is 150 East. So actually, me and Commissioner Inglesby have allocated funding for the whole design, the design of this 150 to see if we need to widen that to a 4-lane divided highway. Because there is so much new housing development here, and there's also 3 schools here. And so there's so much traffic on East 150. So it's great for us to start being proactive and looking at what we can do to improve that stretch of 150. All right, so Precinct 2, other additions to the bond. Each of our precincts has discretionary preliminary design funding, and mine is under Precinct 2, it's just 2.6. So this is Precinct 1. I wanted to just kind of highlight what's going on over in Commissioner Inglesby's precinct that includes the city of Kyle. So she has Cotton Gin Road, and 219 will be a 2-lane undivided, full construction utilities, Goforth, BB Road, High Road, 4-lane divided with a center turn lane and 1 roundabout. High Road, 127, 4-lane undivided. This is just utilities and right-of-way on this bond. And then we have Button Lane, Heidenreich, Grist Mill, which is a 2-lane undivided shoulder, full construction. And then in Precinct 3, which is Commissioner Schell, is what they're calling the new 150 realignment on the west side, which is connecting to 35, but also to 110 on the other side. So this is broken down into 2 segments, Yarrington Road, 150, West Arroyo, Stagecoach to RC16, then segment 2 is Yarrington Road, 150 to Old Stagecoach. And I'm sure this might be talked about with Mayor Mitchell later. But essentially, if you think about this segment and the new road alignment on the east side going up from 158 to BB Road, is essentially we're trying to build a loop around Kyle to keep traffic from downtown Kyle and get people who need to go to the other side of Kyle easier instead of going straight through downtown, right? So that's the goal. Okay, and that was my last slide, but here's my contact information if you want to take a quick pic of it. But also, all of the projects are listed on our county website today. I just checked, they're already loaded up. So if you want to learn more about all the other projects in our area, please go to the county website, and it has so much more of the detail that you can stop and zoom in the maps and you can see everything. Feel free to to go to that, but also reach out to your commissioners as well and talk to them if you have some concerns about some of these projects or you want to give some feedback to them, because that's what we're here for, is to take that information back and things for us to consider when it comes back to court in August. So thank you so much. It was a great, presenting this to everyone. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Commissioner. We're plenty of time. We will have questions. We'll bring the three of them back up here shortly. This gentleman probably does not really need a big introduction, but I will do that anyways. Mayor Mitchell first came to Kyle to expand his small business in 2013. That's when I came here. In 2016, he successfully ran for a spot on the city council with the goal of making Kyle a more business-friendly city. In 2017, he became our mayor, a position he still holds today. Mayor Mitchell is happily married to his beautiful wife, Corey, and together they have 3 sons who attend school at Barton Middle School and Negley Elementary. Please welcome Mayor Travis Mitchell.
Right.
Well, that makes sense. All right. So only have about 45 minutes prepared. I hope that's okay. I would like to actually, if we can, let's just give the chamber a huge round of applause, and I want to tell you why. We've been dealing with the electeds oftentimes through the years, a lot of questions from the community about what's going on with the road projects. And they will complain oftentimes that we're not doing enough because they're driving on roads that they don't see anything happening on. And then, so sometimes they will come to us and we try to educate them on what we're doing. And then maybe they'll say, what about Goforth? Or what about 150? Or what about I-35? This presentation is giving us the opportunity to give it to you all 3 levels, state, county, and local, which I think probably since I've been here is the most complete picture of what road construction projects are happening in the region in a consumable format. It's being videoed, and I know the chamber is going to distribute that down the road. It's very valuable to our community. So let's give the chamber and Julie and everyone a round of applause for that. I also want to give a huge shout out to our county commissioners. Commissioner Cohen has, like she said, did that seem like the first road bond presentation she'd ever done? No. Commissioner Cohen has been increasing in her knowledge and experience, but the drive that led her to become a commissioner is very self-evidently still there. And her heart bleeds for our region and for the city of Kyle in particular and those neighborhoods affected by growing transportation problems on the east side. It's incredible. But Commissioner Cohen can't solve the problems of Kyle on her own because she has to work with colleagues who have to deal with other problems in the county. And how incredible is it that our county commissioner's court, she's been mentioning precinct 1, 2, and 3. Well, we have commissioner for precinct 4 here, Walt Smith, as well. So the entire commissioner's court is working together to try to solve problems, not just looking at the problems of their own precinct, but trying to figure out how these road projects connect together. And as Tucker said, they're really doing a great job setting the model for how to cultivate projects, and I think that the city of Kyle's in great hands with Commissioner Cohen, as well as the court. So let's give them a round of applause. And then finally, I want to say thanks again to Mr. Ferguson and Willie for coming here. I'm not sure if everyone in the room understands, but when you think of TxDOT in Austin, you keep working your way up the ladder, keep going. Eventually, you're going to get to this man right here. And so we talked ahead of time, and Tucker did say that any project that he has mentioned in his slide is going to receive full funding from TxDOT, correct? All he had to do was mention it, and that's a yes, full funding. No, I am kidding, but Tucker has to deal with state road challenges all throughout the Austin region. Imagine the $4 to $6 billion I-35 expansion program that we just had to get passed at the Campo level, or just an amendment, but the incredible opposition from the various folks in the region who want to stop development of roads and expansion of roads. And they will always come up with a good reason why we don't need to move forward today. But I'll tell you this, when they say that the city of Austin through the years has had a difficult time keeping up with the roads and infrastructure, it really isn't TxDOT. TxDOT has been there as a partner, ready to go, ready to fund projects. They look for partners who are leaders in their community, who are cultivating really important projects that solve their own problems without just having your hand out, but that also come to the TxDOT with solutions for their problems as well. Tucker and Willie, they understand that. They're boots on the ground kind of guys. I don't know how many meetings Willie's in with developers, with city, with the county, working with us to make sure these projects all come to light. And so if I stop the presentation right here, I think we would probably say City of Kyle's in pretty good shape. We are working on a western loop. We're working on an eastern loop. We're working to fix our train problem downtown. We're working for grade separation at Kohler's, underpass/overpass, another east-west connection between major retail hubs and major neighborhoods in the Kohler's underpass/overpass. They're great projects that many of us have been working on for a very long time, and it is exciting. We do know that TxDOT has now funded the engineering for the grade separation project at Kohler's. Now we're working on about a $25 million grant, as Tucker has mentioned. Recently, we took our team and went and met with the delegation in Washington, D.C., specifically to talk about that last piece, $25 million for grade separation at Kohler's, which unlocks the rail siding, the money that's funded, that's ready to go to unblock downtown from I-35, from the train tracks. We cannot do that without serious support from our county partners who are carrying that project forward, and from our state partners who are helping us with the engineering, and from our federal partners with the $25 million Christie grant. Let's go. Let's get this done. So anyway, I'm going to go through the city road bond projects, and I'm going to go through them in about 5 minutes because I don't know where to do it. No, I hit the wrong button, of course. All right. All right, first up, Marketplace Avenue. Every project I'm talking to you about right now, fully funded. These projects are on their way. They will be built as fast as we can design, engineer, and construct them. The first project is the first one to go off, Marketplace Avenue. This project is going to connect 1626, where HEB is, all the way up to the Public Safety Center. It's about a $12 million project. It's a half a mile. We are about to start construction on this, and it is going to make a huge connection to another really important area. It's great for our first responders to be able to get downtown quickly, from downtown straight up to the Public Safety Center. Don't have to touch a train, don't have to touch I-35, which is great news. That project is scheduled to be delivered next year. Next up is BB Road. The top line you can see schematic and engineering and construction. That's our initial plan. What we were initially projecting underneath is what is turning into reality. This is a good one. I got some bad ones too. It's part of the challenge. So BB Road East, we're going to straighten it out. And that project is expected to start middle of the year next year. Further east is a longer delay. Anytime you're trying to build a road through a densely populated area where there's development on both sides, there's going to be utilities along the road, there's going to be right-of-ways and setbacks that you have to deal with, and it is very challenging. But the rest of that project, heading out towards green pastures, is underway. We are still expecting that to start in construction late 2026. All right, next up is the Kohler's to Seton off-system portion. So the underpass, we're disconnecting it from everything else, and we are going to construct a new road east. So if you think of Kohler's Drive, it comes right into I-35. We're going to have an underpass/overpass to go straight through that, and then all the way down across a BB Road, and then all the way down to Seton. So imagine going from Seton Hospital to Costco and direct west on Kohler's, back and forth. It's very, very important. That project is expected to start construction next year. All right, let's talk about the on-system part. As has been mentioned by Tucker and myself, we are working very diligently to try to get an overpass/underpass. I call it an underpass. Tucker says over. Do you know yet which one, or are we still working on it? Slash. All right, we're going with Slash right now as we're in the middle of that design. It's a very expensive project to try to mess with I-35. Working with TxDOT is important, but also receiving federal aid and assistance is important. We have fully funded this project already in bond dollars, but that does not mean that we are going to force the residents to just pay for it without exhausting our collaborative opportunities to draw down money, not only from the county, not only from the state, but in particular from Chrissy grant at the federal government. We're hoping to make that happen. Then think to yourself, what happens when you have funded a project and you're working for it and all of a sudden you get grant funding to offset the money that you're anticipating to spend? Well, that greenlights new projects, doesn't it? And that's really, really important for us. All right, Bunton Creek is expected to start early 2026 to be completed in early 2027. These projects are really important because it starts right there at the intersection at Lehman. And I'm going to talk to you about the other road connecting. This is an important road there by Lehman High. Old Stagecoach Road is 3 parts. The first section up in green, we're getting ready to start on that here in just a few months. It's going to connect at Six Creeks Boulevard with the roundabout. Then the Stagecoach, this is my driveway, Old Stagecoach Road, the blue line is expected to start, I believe, next year. That's the first part, delivering next year. The second part doesn't deliver until 2028, again, between Six Creeks, Cypress Forest, Hometown Kyle, and other projects. There's a lot of right-of-way issues to deal with, but we plan to get under construction end of next year, beginning of 2026. And then finally, the Center Street section. This is not the section that Tucker talked about. Tucker talked about the section from Center Street moving east. This section is from Stagecoach moving up towards Veterans Drive. It's city funded. Eventually, all these pieces connect and you get a lot of really great roads. Another thing I would say, this is the section that Tucker was talking about, but it's when you're thinking about constructing city roads, you're not just building long highways to connect a car from point A all the way to point B. Your city roads have lots of intersection. You need to think about lighting, pedestrian mobility, aesthetics, design, a lot of those factors, entrances into and out of other projects, as well as connectivity to other roads. It's really, really important, and all these projects have taken that into consideration. This project I'm really excited about. So it connects to the Bunton Creek project that I just showed you, but from Seton Parkway, so remember the original plan calls from Kohler's Crossing to go all the way down to Seton. That's a huge new piece of road. This is the second piece, and it goes from Seton all the way to Lehman High School. So you can see not only are we trying to think about solving the mobility problem in the community by widening and beefing up the roads that are in existence. As Commissioner Cohen mentioned, a lot of these roads were built to a county standard many, many years ago before any of what is happening today was envisioned. We have to upgrade and improve those roads, but we also need new pieces of connectivity, and this one is very, very important. The Kyle Parkway to Lehman Road project is expected to be delivered in 2027, construction starting first year of 2026. Windy Hill, everything east of this was presented in the commissioner's report a second ago, but the section between that county's piece and I-35 is not to be forgotten. This project is very important, and we are anticipating that project to start construction middle to third quarter of next year. All right. I'm going to just skip all that. We've already discussed it. All right, let's talk about some intersection improvements. Kohler's Crossing, we have Sanders, Benner, and Cromwell. These are 3 important intersections. All 3 of these intersections are already at failing grades, so we have to make improvements on them. And what we're trying to think about in the city of Kyle is not just solving the problem of today, but setting it up so that when it's complete, it has an A score intersection, meaning it is very good to navigate, and that for the next 5, 10, 15 years, it will continue to achieve a passing grade. And roundabouts are one of the best ways that we can improve an intersection to solve the problems of today and have that intersection have some resiliency to handle increased traffic over time. All 3 of these projects are funded and underway. We hope to get those started next year as well. And then additionally on Kohler's Crossing, Marketplace Avenue. So this is where the police station comes out. We're funding and working on design and engineering to improve that, potentially a roundabout, potentially a traffic light. And then Kohler's Crossing and Kyle Crossing, that is Has anybody driven that one? That one's tough. And we initially planned for a temporary intersection improvement with some temporary lights, and I believe that is still moving forward. But immediately on the backside of that is going to be designed for a robust, long-term intersection. So if you can imagine, you start at Hayes High School. So let's take a little walk. Right here. Let's take a little walk. All right. So here we are, all the way up here at the end of Kohler's Crossing. And imagine being able to take a drive, roundabout, 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 and then 1626 and Kohler's is on the Campo plan. We're working on that improvement. We don't know what the future is there. Over the train tracks, so you don't have to stop at the train tracks, to a roundabout at Marketplace, a roundabout at Kyle Crossing, underneath or over I-35 without having to stop, down through a brand new retail outlet, all the way through new intersections down to Lehman. That is the new piece of land. We hope to see this as a major retail corridor, as well as additional retail corridors of 1626, Kyle Marketplace, and along these loops and future development and growth at Yarrington. So those are a lot of what we've been going through. The city of Kyle has got a lot of projects going on, as you can see. So thank you all for letting me walk you through these projects. Thank you to Commissioner Cohen for her incredible leadership representing us, and thank you to Tucker and Willie also for your work at the state level. Appreciate you all very much.
All right, so I think we're going to open it up for questions. We are ahead of schedule. I know there are a lot of questions. We have all of them here. So raise your hand. I'll run the mic out to you. State who you are, who you're with, and ask your question. Who's first? No. Okay. I know we had at least one.
Hello, my name is David Thompson. My question is on Kohler's Crossing and 35. With all the Amazon truck traffic coming out right there, and it backs up really bad because they can't turn and make that right because the interstate's so busy, have we thought about some kind of a merge lane for those trucks so they can get some speed up before they have to merge over?
Brian Langley, City Manager. Tag.
That's the danger when you sit on the front row. We are going to be looking at that entire corridor. We have a study to look at the Kyle Crossing and Kohler's intersection, as well as the Marketplace intersection, the area in front of the Public Safety Center, and that entire corridor to see at what all improvements need to be made to make sure all of those improvements work well. But I do know the issue that you're talking about, and it will need to be addressed. We'll have to look at what's the best way to do that.
Other questions? I have a question. How can we, the Kyle Chamber will work to keep our members informed, but what is your best route for us to know where the status is, where detours are, any alternate routes? How can you help us help our customers and our members know what is happening?
I think that question is going to become increasingly important for us to collaborate on as the years move. So the next 12 months, the only major project going off will be Marketplace, and there will be no detours because it's all greenfield. But in 2026, in particular, the majority of, not only will the projects we're starting in 2025 be kicking off, but the remainder, most of these projects start in either 25 or 26. And the question for us is, all right, well, do we go slowly to make life easiest for folks to deal with the construction, or do we move quickly and it's a little bit more difficult navigating, but we're going to get the projects done faster? So those conversations are yet to be had once we get a little bit closer. But it's a good question because we need to be very proactive in making sure that folks know when projects are starting, what to expect, and managing those expectations. And I know the Chamber will help us. It's definitely a commitment of ours to communicate at the highest level that we can when these projects really kick off. I'm going to be done here in about two and a half years, and my goal is to leave the next mayor with a bunch of construction mess. If I can do that, I think I'll be successful. So,
Other questions? No? Okay. Yes, sir. Makes me run.
I'm Reed McCoy with McCoy's Building Supply. I have two questions since there's not a lot of questions. One, I'm a fan of roundabouts, and I know there's a lot of people that dog on roundabouts, but I know that that has to be really well thought out. So could you tell us a little bit about why Kyle loves roundabouts? And then I have another question.
Boy, y'all won't get out of here if you start me on roundabouts. Tobias knows how long I can talk about roundabouts. You are correct. So statistically, roundabouts, this is proven fact at this point, well vetted by engineering groups. Most engineering firms that we deal with on any level loves roundabouts, including, I believe TxDOT has an official roundabouts favorable policy. There's something about that. When I was talking to my wife and my kids the other day, what's the value of a life? Did you know that government places a value on your life? They could separate the lanes so that you don't have head-on collisions, but it costs more money. You have to buy more land and build more things. So what can we do to have the biggest impact on reducing fatalities and increasing traffic flow without increasing our overall costs? And roundabouts are proven to have a 90% reduction in traffic fatalities, 50% reduction in traffic accidents altogether, and a 50% increase in traffic efficiency, as well as their ability to handle the flow. So that's the pitch for roundabouts in a nutshell. But there are downsides to that, such as roundabouts are not comfortable transportation apparatuses for Kyle and Hays County and Central Texas residents. It's new. That's one. So there's a learning curve there. But what we have found when you do studies is that the level of opposition to a roundabout in a new community is often right at 50% or even greater. But once the roundabout is installed, 1 year after use, the level of adoption and support for that decision goes up to roughly 2/3. So we know that's important. The other incredibly important factor we have to consider is if we're building a roundabout in a particular intersection, and we know that pedestrian mobility is going to play a role, is that roundabout has to be designed in such a way as to accommodate for pedestrians. And there are a lot of ways that can be accomplished. And then, finally, just think about roundabouts from a maintenance perspective. If we get hit with some new malware by Chinese hackers or something like that, and all the power goes out, and you lose all your traffic lights, and there's emergencies, and first responders and firefighters and EMS need to go someplace, intersections can get completely gridlocked just by a power outage in the time of an emergency. Well, guess what? You don't need that for a roundabout. They continue to operate at max efficiency regardless of weather or power. And so there's just a lot of reasons, but considering the pedestrian mobility and then also the total amount, because a roundabout will break down if it has too much traffic flow. And so the engineers, every roundabout that we consider putting in, we study it very carefully. We have roundabout consultants and a variety of reports that are issued to tell us whether or not a roundabout is better or a signalized intersection, and if a roundabout is better, what kind of roundabout and how can it be designed to be maximally efficient. So that's what we're doing on every single one.
Thank you very much. My last question, RM-150 from Arroyo Ranch Road to Yarrington, this is, I guess, a question for all of the speakers. Do you see that as like a 1626 style road or as a 130 or 45 style road?
I think it's being engineered for probably 2 lanes and a turn lane initially. So no, not 1626 level. 1626 is the culmination of 45 to I-35, so the flows there are completely different. But we really do think of the 150 as a western loop, think of it like business 150. Well, actually, down Center Street would become business 150, and then it's not even, you call it 150, it's really 110. So the TxDOT has a problem there because you're taking 150 and connecting it to 110. So what are we going to call it, Willie? I don't know. Flip a coin, 110 or 150. Yeah. Reed, what was your question on 150? I'm sorry.
I'm trying to
Yeah, three lane with the turn lane initially, but I think it's 4 lanes at Arroyo Ranch with a divided median, and a lot of that's still, under consideration. We're having meetings on that road weekly, and we've been having meetings on that road weekly for months and months. And so the reason is because we're trying to be really smart with how we fund these things, and we want to get the maximum amount of bonding capacity with the minimum amount of tax rate impact. And one of the ways you can accomplish that is with development agreements. So there are proposed developments out in that area that are considering entering into an agreement to allow for them to be annexed into the city, and then we can take that increment and pledge that revenue back to pay for the debt, which increases the amount the county can go for when they're pursuing a bond without increasing the tax rate impact. And so that's the way the Western Loop is being configured in terms of the structure of the deal. And the Eastern Loop, go forth with Commissioners Cohen and Inglesby, same exact thing. Those county road projects are being pursued in partnership, where the county will take on the burden of the debt initially, but over time, both the county and the city will help to repay that debt, which instead of it taking 30 years to pay off go forth, our projection is like 12 years, 13 years. And instead of 30 years to pay off the 150 loop, it's 9 years. And by pay off, I mean get it to a point where the development within the district that we create will generate enough revenues to offset the debt, which then completely unburdens the county and allows for them to pursue new projects. So we're not just saying, let's go build a road. We're saying, how can we create a scalable model that takes advantage of the growth now and leverages it to get the most projects going as possible, and that also sets the future generations of leaders up so that they will have options to cultivate new projects, so that we didn't just burden them with just insufferable amounts of debt.
Any other questions? Sometimes I get confused or wonder. I'll call the city and say, hey, what happened with this road, or there's a problem with this, and we learn that it's managed by TxDOT. Is there a map or information out there where we can determine which roads are managed or maintained by the City of Kyle, Hays County, or TxDOT?
I do not know.
How do
Willie
we find
knows.
that out?
Yeah.
We thought we'd get Willie up here.
Yes, ma'am, there is. So basically anything that's on the state system, we have a statewide planning map. Go to Google, just TxDOT statewide map, and it'll pop up, and it'll populate what roadways are state roadways in Hays County. But even easier than that is if you look at our highway condition, or we call it HCRS, highway condition system, every roadway that's a state roadway is also shown on that map, right? So the other thing I wanted to add to that real quick is, you asked a while ago about communication. What's really important for this region, while we're still a little antiquated at the state, we do have websites now. Yeah. So each project has a website. And so our Capital Express Central program, our Capital Express South program, anything in Hays County, if you know the roadway, for example, 150 West, you just Google it and the website will pop up. It'll keep the most up-to-date information. Our PI team updates exactly where we are in process, things of that nature. So hope that helps.
Very good. We'll link those sites to our website. Send it to, yes, we will do that. Any other questions from the audience? All right. Well, thank you.
I thought this was July. What's going on out there?
I know. This is great.
Thank you, Jim.
Once again, please thank our speakers today. And the mayor wasn't kidding. I mean, when we were able to get Tucker Ferguson with TxDOT, our mayor and our commissioner here today, what an honor for our members. Our board thanks you very much, and we appreciate it. Another applause for our speakers today. Also, thank you, Corey Pack State Farm, for your sponsorship today. Greatly appreciated. We will work, the mission of the Kyle Chamber of Commerce is to promote, advocate, connect, and educate businesses to foster a strong local economy. We hope that you leave today with information that will help you when we're looking at, the next 2 or 3 years, 25, 26, 27. This is an opportunity for us to help you prepare when you're making appointments with your customers. You can let them know when there are traffic flow changes, detours, alternate routes. We will work hard to help you be educated and informed so your business does not feel an impact in your bottom line. So that's what we're here for. We appreciate your time today. We hope to see you next month, August 27th. We will hear more from Kyle Police Department and what they are doing to work toward the growth of our community. Thank you all very much. Stay dry. I do have an umbrella if anybody needs to borrow it because I parked under the park. Thanks all. Have a great day.